Hi all, welcome back to Make More Bonsai. Spring has arrived here in Texas. When you see the buds popping open on your maples, you know the dark days are behind you and we're going to make way for some longer, warmer days to come. We'll be looking at this Trident Maple today. This was collected last February and is well established already in this growing pot. The plan is to sometime soon make a really nice looking bonsai. It has a really nice base and some attractive surface roots. Some of the new branches that have emerged last year will become a new leader and new branches that will have quite a dramatic taper. But that's not what we're doing today. This tree may be a bit taller than you might expect. It was intentionally left at this height for two reasons. One, lots more real estate for dormant buds to emerge from the stump than if it were shorter, encouraging a healthier tree and strong root development during the first year after collection, and more design choices when they finally pop up. Two, when the time comes to choose a new leader for the trunk to jumpstart that tapered main trunk, instead of cutting it all off and throwing it away, we can air layer that top and do like the channel title says, and make more bonsai. We really only need a few tools to pull this off. Pruning shears, a concave cutter, some aluminum wire, pliers, and a wire cutter, and some gear that will facilitate forming new roots, namely a plastic bag big enough to wrap around the trunk, a sharp blade to cut through the bark, rooting hormone, and also some plastic wrap. This tube was cut in half and you'll see why when the time comes to use it. And last on the list, some pre-soaked sphagnum moss. You can get that at any garden center sort of place. Something important to consider is this is an opportunity to create the best possible conditions for the angle the new tree will rise from the soil. Rather than a pole shooting straight up, we can create a slight angle that will make the final air layer tree more interesting right away. Before I start, I want to make sure I don't damage the new shoots I plan to keep on the lower trunk. I'm going to tie these down out of the way of the action. When the operation's completed, we'll cut them free. I'm also going to remove anything that will be in the way of the area I plan to air layer. Also, I'm going to prop this tree up on an angle to help visualize the trunk on a bit of a tilt. We'll review the area we want to be the base from a few different angles. We can mark it up with chalk where the base of the new tree will be once a plan of action's been decided, then another markup an inch or more down. We want to make sure the cut we're about to make is too large for the tree to just heal over itself. The top cut needs to callus and sprout roots. If it heals over before the roots form, the air layer will fail and we'll have to start again. We start with a firm, deep cut through the outer bark. For this to be successful, we need to penetrate the phloem, cambium, through to the xylem. Work this area slowly, take your time, use some precision. This is part of the fun. How an air layer works, in case you're wondering. Trees have 3 layers of cells that do most of the work right beneath the bark, surrounding the core that serves as the structure of the tree. There's xylem on the inside that draws water and nutrients up from the roots, providing what is needed for photosynthesis in the leaves. The outside is phloem. Phloem brings the sugars created by the leaves down through the tree, feeding the various cells and delivering hormones and all kinds of goodness through the tree. Between these 2 layers is cambium. Cambium is about 1 cell thick and is made up of undifferentiated cells. These cells can become leaf buds, new xylem, or phloem cells, and you guessed it, root buds. When the cut part is detected as an injury, it will trigger the tree to start working to heal the wound. A callus will form in that area, and this is when the cambium, with its awesome undifferentiated cells, will get to work making the new roots we need to sever this section of the tree to support itself on its own root system. In order to facilitate all that action, we're peeling off a large section, severing the cambium and the phloem from the rest of the tree so all that energy can be devoted to making the callus and roots. Water can easily flow up through the xylem, supporting the leaves, but everything stops at the cut point. Once the initial cut is made, it's best to make a second pass, being sure to scrape off the green cambium and then making the area we want the roots to form neat and clean with some final sharp refinement to that edge. Callus will form faster if the area is clean and free of any rough edges. If you like what we're doing over here, go on over to Amazon and check out our book, Bonsai Progress. It's a wonderful little tracker, fits in your pocket or your toolbox. You can keep track of up to 27 different trees, 70 lines with dates. It makes for a great gift, probably the least expensive thing you'll find in the world of bonsai. So go on over there and check it out. And also, if you like what you're seeing, like and subscribe. Now back to the fun. When all that's done, we attach a clear plastic bag to the lower part of the trunk and secure it with wire. This should be tight enough to keep the bag from sliding down for a few months. Next, we apply the rooting hormone as an extra measure to ensure we get roots from that area. After the hormone is applied, it's time to fill the makeshift bag pod with that pre-soaked sphagnum moss. Fill that area with as much as you can fit into the bag, all the way up until it's over the top of the cut that has the rooting hormone applied. It's important that there's plenty of sphagnum moss in there so the area remains moist and there's enough to support the new roots when they form. Then secure the top and close it off much like we did with the bottom of the bag. This is still pretty loose, however. You see how I bent that wire down and neatly out of the way? That's to make the next step much easier. Remember that plastic wrap that I reduced to about 4 inches in width? We are now going to wrap that around the bag, compressing the contents of the bag to press firmly against the area we want the roots to grow. Once the callus is built, the constant moisture and contact with the sphagnum moss will send the message to the cambium layer that this is underground, not exposed to light, and is an awesome place to make more roots. It's important to wrap the bag as tightly as possible to ensure the roots have every opportunity to grow all around the cut area of the trunk. This way the roots form and are evenly spread around the whole tree and not sparse or uneven. Our eventual outcome should be a multitude of roots radiating around the entire trunk. Finally, let's punch a few holes into the bottom of the bag for drainage. You'll be watering the tree and the air layering bag for a few months, and that excess water needs to drain and allow some air into the bag for the new roots to be able to function. Now that the operation is complete, we can free up those lower branches, and there you have it. In a few weeks, I'll check on this tree to see if any roots have formed. Maples are fairly aggressive at making new roots using this method. This can take 6 to 12 weeks or more depending on the species. If I see some roots forming, I may open the bag a bit and add some more of the sphagnum moss and leave it open so water and oxygen can flow more freely, encouraging the roots to grow faster. When the time comes to sever this top, we will return with a new video covering that and aftercare. Thanks for taking the time watching this demo. I hope that you got something out of it that will add to your bonsai and horticultural knowledge. You know, this kind of stuff, this planning for the future and imagining the creation of new outcomes, then taking action to facilitate that dream, is all part of making bonsai a part of your life. The aspect of coming up with new possibilities is one of the things that makes growing bonsai really fun. In my mind, I have no doubt that bonsai is definitely for dreamers. It's spring. What are you doing watching this video? Go make more bonsai! Thank you, and don't forget to like and subscribe.